It's 2023, and this is Kandid Koffee's 5th and final year, and I'm starting it off with you guys, which is amazing. Mer Herosner, Vic and Mike, thank you for inviting me to your lovely studio, and we're doing a collaboration with Kandid Koffee and Mer Herosner, January 2023, and I'm very excited.
Well, thank you for having us in our studio.
In your studio.
I feel like we're like the home team in our home court, but we're the road team.
Yeah.
Sort of.
It's like the Lakers playing
At home against the Clippers.
Clippers. Am I the Clippers now?
I don't know. It's just a weird sports analogy. Don't mind me. That's just how my mind works sometimes.
Yeah, it's been well, thank you for doing this, first of all.
Thanks for having us.
We've talked about this before. We've, run into each other at social events. And finally, we're actually doing something, right?
Yes.
I feel shorter. Why do I feel shorter?
You guys look on point. Very good.
Okay.
Ano ba jesam bojovace?
So, yeah, but again, we're excited. I think we got a lot to talk about.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. I love your show because it's mostly based on our history. And one thing I've always wanted to ask you guys is, and just like say out loud here, is for me, it's very frustrating to flip through like Nat Geo or History Channel and see like fucking pyramids every time. And like, or the Aztecs, Chichen Itza has pyramids and these and this and that and their history and how amazing it is. Did the aliens make it? Did the Egyptians make it? Did the Jews do it? Whatever it is. And it's like no one ever talks about Portasar. No one ever talks about us.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
Ever. And there's so much to say. How much can you keep talking about Giza or whatever, like the pharaohs, whatever it is?
Yeah.
And it's interesting,
it's overkill.
but it's overkill.
It is. It's overkill.
Yeah.
It's overkill.
I think.
And it's insulting, kind of.
Well, I think also
Like, dude,
as far as
Where were you?
Yeah.
well, as far as Portasar, I think it was discovered recently, so there's still a lot of archaeological
Questions.
Yeah,
definitely
and still
a lot of
digging.
questions
I mean,
about it.
they've covered maybe the tip of the iceberg so far.
Right.
And also you have the Turkish government with their regulations, so not enough is being like Graham Hancock, who has that show on Netflix. He's one of the champions of trying to find more information. Freddie Silva, he's another guy who has written so many books. We've actually are trying to get him on the show as well, probably in April. And he wrote so many books about the where basically he believes civilization started in the Portasar area and some other, because there's other type of they call them tepes that they found, and it's all in the Armenian highlands, right?
Right, exactly.
So they are.
I covered that with Vahan.
Yeah, and he wrote a book where he actually talks about the Anunnaki, which he believes are the Armenians who traveled to Ireland, and because Portasar predates the what's this?
I'll make a point about the Anunnaki, but wait, so you're talking about Stonehenge?
Stonehenge.
Yeah, Stonehenge.
Yeah. Oh no, it predates Stonehenge.
Yeah, but he believes that the Armenians were the ones who traveled to Ireland
and showed the Druids how to build it.
Not just that, he believes that the Irish, and I could be wrong, but from what I understood is that our Armenians are their ancestors. So because there's a lot of similarities between Armenians and Irish. So
a lot of our, I don't know if you guys have ever paid attention to a lot of their symbols. A lot of the Celtic symbols.
The Celtic symbols.
Yeah.
Almost
and
they perfected the Shadacho, I think.
So true. Maybe a lot faster too.
Right? They're super
faster,
faster than us. We get drunk and we're sloppy.
A little bit more disciplined too. A little bit more disciplined.
They're falling off of each other. So I completely agree with what you're saying. There isn't enough content as far as Armenian history goes. There is from the Armenia side, but it's in Armenian. That's the problem. It's like we keep keeping the content within our own circle. Like, what is the point of that? What are we doing?
We're just an echo chamber.
Like, let's say we're a family sitting here, and everything that happens, we keep it, but nobody knows about what's happening. So the outsider is not going to know, who we are as a family, what strides we're taking, how successful we are, because we're keeping everything within ourselves. Well, that's a problem, especially when you have a force like Azerbaijan that is has millions of dollars and the lobbying power to silence.
Of course.
I mean, his
Censor.
wife, the vice president, she got kicked out, was the head of the UNESCO or one of the members. I mean,
it's like House of Cards, man.
And UNESCO is supposed to be protecting historical sites. Well, if you have the enemy who's the head,
how are you going to do that? Right.
It's just
Do I have to get into the fact that like a lot of these organizations are just corrupt? Period. Like, I mean, they might be doing things under the guise of good.
Yeah.
But you know how I feel about all of them.
No.
Money buys all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying they're particularly following, let's say, Turkish money or Azeri money based off of a lot of the sites that have been found in modern day Turkey. However,
okay, so we have the Azeris against us and censoring us. We have Americans or Brits maybe doing research and historians going and seeing things like Portasar, which was a relatively new finding. But we also have our, vineyards and caves where we would make wine. And let's just say the Jews are wanting to censor that too because they're supposed to be the chosen people. And I mean, Bolori Hamar were kind of
it's typical marketing, right? Like, you can have
who's going to come to our aid
product. You can have a shit product.
Yeah.
But you can market really well and people will buy your product. Right. Whereas you might get 10 people that have 10 times better than what that shit product is. You're just not marketing it correctly.
Exactly.
This is what we are. This is what we are. This is the way it works. These people just have the clout and the financial support to do whatever it is that they need to do.
Exactly.
And they're pulling the right people their direction.
Exactly.
Right?
Not to mention, even when there's no bias and there's no malice intent, historians that have dedicated their entire careers to some specific subject, and somebody else comes along and says, hey, buddy, you know what? I know you've done like a lifetime's worth of research, but hate to break it to you, there's a little bit of a glitch, and we've been here. We there's signs of our alphabet in Ethiopia. Now you say Ireland, he had written a book. What was it?
The language is a fingerprint.
The other where we were from this like other civilization that there's like proof of our language being
the
in
Basque.
The Basque. And he's mentioned
that the Basque. His thing is that the Basque is actually Armenian.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you try to make someone who has thought otherwise for the majority of their career and they're like dumbfounded at that moment, like he's not going to want to admit that you're
of
right.
Course, because they've been taught a certain set of things that have been the norm.
Exactly.
So
all the odds are against us.
Norm in academia.
Yeah.
And academia is not, again, sorry, I'm bringing up, I'm wearing my corruption hat tonight.
No.
But academia, as we all know, is not exactly the most kosher or balanced environment or establishment.
There's a big war going on in academia right now where you have these new they might not be archaeologists, but they're researchers, for example, right? People who have shown interest,
right?
And they could be journalists or anything of that sort. What's happening is they're going out there and doing all this research, finding out these new stuff. When they're presenting it, the academia, which is so powerful, is saying no. They call them pseudo, historians, this and that. Why? Because
have the paper.
And the thing is, imagine someone like Vahan or someone like Graham Hancock. I keep mentioning his name because he has a big target on his back. Not that I think his ideas are sometimes far out, but he brings this thing where, hey, why not? Let's look at it from this side. Maybe this guy's right. Maybe he's onto something. Why don't we do this? And no, they shut it down. They right away, because if it is true, can you imagine? The entire academia has to be rewritten.
Exactly.
Well, because look, I don't know if you guys
That's
ever.
my point.
I don't know if you guys ever used to watch, when you mentioned History Channel. A lot of Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That was on rerun all the time. I felt like History Channel turned into Ancient Aliens.
It was.
Pretty much.
It was only that.
Because it was just such a popular show.
Exactly.
Funny enough, a lot of those individuals, including Graham Hancock and that funny Greek dude with the crazy hair.
Crazy hair,
right?
yeah. Because aliens.
Because aliens. Right? That's one of the best memes ever. These guys weren't archaeologists. They're actually accredited ufologists or ufologists. Like, well, how does something? But it's not a real paper.
Okay.
These guys have done enough research and written enough books, the Eric von Danikens, the Graham Hancocks, and so on and so forth, where it actually challenges academia who have the paper and says, but have you guys looked at it from this angle? Have you guys looked at it from this angle? Yeah, Ancient Aliens was a little bit dramatized, but again, there were certain points that were made in that series that questioned a lot of what mainstream archaeology dug up.
Right.
You know, including Ortasar.
Yeah.
They talked about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
I don't think that we have enough power or resources or time. Everything is against us as far as like having our real factual researched history be published and acknowledged by these historians and by these scholars and professors or what have you. I don't know how we can possibly come up from under this, and we're just gonna kind of like I don't want to say it, but like I feel like it's just the history is being extinct or pushed away, and then we are currently even.
I think the way we fight that is by first of all, we need to, if you go to Armenia, the museums in Armenia, the Maten Aldaran, we have so much historical artifacts and ancient books written that need to be translated into English.
Right.
For example, we have a fan of ours who...
Oh, yeah. This is a great story.
Anna Hodnet, is it Hodnet? She has an Armenian last name too, but I forget. I apologize, Anna, if you're watching. She got motivated by our podcast. So she contacted a very famous historian in Armenia, and she said she has written a book which is The Land of Ararat, which is the true story of the people of Ararat, you know. But it's in Armenian. It's in Armenian, right?
Okay.
Nobody, who's gonna read it? Armenians, right?
Of course.
So
I guess regurgitating information.
She said, "I want to translate this book." So she ended up flying to Armenia, meeting her. She translated the book completely. She just finished it last month. She sent us an email.
So crazy.
And it's gonna go into publication. Hopefully, it'll come out sometime in May. And
really?
We will be helping.
Who's
her.
translating it?
She did.
Yeah,
I think she's an English major, but she translated the whole book into English. Now it's going to be published here. We're going to get it in, try to get it into schools and everything.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's how you fight this. All this information that we have needs to be broadcasted to the world. We got to stop keeping it within ourselves and talking about it within ourselves.
Yeah.
Why is our show in English?
Yes.
People ask us, you know how many people are, well,
Okay, so what's the point of that?
30% of our audience, I just posted it yesterday. We've had 116,000 downloads in last year of our podcast. 30% of that are non-Armenians.
Yep.
Who have shown interest to learn about our history.
Now,
if we had
I have tons of friends.
That's
tons
amazing.
Of friends from all over
That's
the world,
amazing.
not just
so
here.
if we had not done that, then what was going to happen is people were going to just, again, it's going to stay within Armenians, and we're going to discuss the same thing. We'll sort of just shoot the shit and argue with each other. It should have been like this, that. At 301 AD, was Christianity good, bad? It's like the constant BS back and forth,
another thing I need to add. We've talked about this ad nauseum. Okay, is I don't know if you guys are aware of if anyone has really gone through the Armenian private school system. I have. I went there until I finished 9th grade, and the way they taught Armenian history was like the old 1980s, early 90s video games. It just went from left to right on the screen.
Yeah.
It was one line. There was nothing else on the outside. It was just Armenian history. Armenians fought this, they won. Armenians fought this, they won. Armenians fought this, they won. It was like the American movie life.
Yeah.
Everything has a good, happy ending, and we win the war,
we
right?
Win everything.
Everything we win. We're like 500,000 and 0. We've never lost.
Yeah.
So, it's literally the same thing with the way Armenian schools. I don't know about now. I mean, I'm hoping they would have changed this a long time ago. I went through this. But it was a very linear way of teaching anything. But we lost a lot of wars. But they never covered anything
the
else.
dirt,
Why?
the dirt.
From
Because we
around.
have to stroke our own
it
ego.
was streamlined straight across.
Yeah.
Literally, like I said, like an 80s video game.
Yeah.
Right? Very linear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, growing up, so if you get into conversations with people, you're going to turn around and say, no, the Armenians did this, the Armenians did this. You're stuck in one lane.
Yeah.
You're not
Just like when
thinking
Russia was
outside-
like propaganda and like telling everybody that they got to the moon before the Americans did.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean,
It's
well,
so
well,
ridiculous.
in this country,
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
yeah.
not to backtrack, but since we're talking about history, like World War II, a lot of Americans think the Americans won the war. No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Americans did not win the war.
Yeah.
You know, it's just... Cheers.
Fill it up. Fill it up.
I'm getting so frustrated right now.
You know, yeah, it's like you have this, people are steered in a certain direction.
Right.
And even we were in Armenian school and it sucks. Like now going through this journey that we've gone on, I'm just like, are you kidding me? There's like all of this that we never learned about. Like,
But in our defense, every history does that. Like there was a book that was published. It's called "The Lies My History Teacher Told Me," and just about American
That's an awesome
history.
title.
Yeah, but because everyone wants to favor their own story,
Sure.
and
History
there
is
are
written
some
by the
truth.
winners, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But here's the
history
thing.
is written by the victors.
It's in the word.
We've had
His
a
story.
lot of losses in our history. Our
Yes.
history is very.
It's not the.
It's
awesome,
a very.
but it's
it's
not the
awesome, but it's
greatest.
a very. There's a lot of sadness in our history.
It is.
Because we've lost a lot of
Yeah,
wars.
of
We've been
course.
conquered a lot.
There's a lot of
And-
internal
and the-
nonsense.
And the main reason we've lost most of these wars
Mhm.
and empires
Mhm.
is because of internal backstabbing.
Of course.
Which is, the thing is, it's no secret. Everybody knows most of our content is from Gevorg Nazarian, who's a historian in Armenia.
Right.
He's a good friend of ours. He provides this content to us. We take it, we put it together, we put this story together, and we talk about it.
Now he could be biased about it.
Yeah,
he's
he
not.
could, but he's not, because
Mhm.
Not.
as a historian, the information that he's getting is actually from non-Armenian historians back in the ages who
Mhm.
wrote about us, who
Mhm.
wrote about the Armenians. So what we're talking about is a point of view from the it could be a Greek historian, it could be
The Assyrians, the Sumerians,
the
a lot of
Sumerians,
Right,
information
right,
came from the
right,
Sumerians, the
right.
Arabs.
So
A lot of the
Yes.
Arabs.
Yes.
So we're talking about our and yeah, we have Khorenatsi who's done he's the father of our history, but it's not enough because it's
Right.
one point of view, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So,
but is it unbiased enough to?
Look,
It is unbiased in a way, but it's also it brings a point of view where, like he was talking about, that it's not that typical linear video game history
Mhm.
Yeah.
where we're basically talking about.
the Armenians did this. The Armenians did this. The Armenians won this.
Great, we're a great culture, but hey, we've had our
Let's
faults.
skip
and,
the loss.
and
And
it's
then
exhausting.
No.
And it's exhausting because him and I talk about this a lot, because every time we're going through these scripts that we're putting together, and it's just like, man, I am tired of this constant
so bad, man.
and because of that, this happened, and we lost this land, we lost this kingdom, or this guy died, and you're just like,
Every single
fuck,
kingdom
enough
fell apart
already.
because
Like,
of it.
it's-
And then somebody great comes along and manages to unify everybody.
And
Yeah,
just
And
when you
that's
think
and
everything
that's-
is going to be okay.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Whoever succeeded
Yeah.
in unifying our people, our factions,
Mhm.
Tigran Metz,
Mhm.
Abbas,
Yeah.
right? You've got this glorified time in our history, this almost like rebirth, this golden age, and then internal nonsense, outside forces destroy you, and
it's funny, and when we talk about
every
this,
single
What
story
time?
we talk
Yeah.
about this,
Yes.
Every
yes.
single
yes.
story is this.
Yes.
and you see it so much happening nowadays because of, like, when you talk about historically, there's always these fractions, right? Like
Նախարարները, yeah.
Նախարարները,
Any ընթակավոր, սեն թակավոր,
ամեն մեկին իրան թակավորի տեղա դրել, էլի, ոնց որ
Հիմա
մի բան
հիմիկվանից
անի,
տենց
and
yeah.
they all fought about who was the king of kings.
Yeah,
you
king
know,
of the
because
castle,
You had
yeah.
all these little kings, and then one guy was aspiring to be the king of all these other
right,
kings.
all the other kings,
And it's
right.
like constantly the same thing. And the same thing is happening now. You have these, I mean, what do you look at? Hayastan kind of, so it's like 83, different
what is it? The
Parties.
families.
parties that are,
That's
it's
right.
it's just stupid. It's stupid. It's like, unite.
What does it tell you? It says that we haven't learned any lessons
Nope.
for 300 years.
Longer.
300.
Longer.
That's nothing.
Longer. Like I'm talking
We're
probably
talking about
probably
4,000 years or more.
I'd say
Since the
somewhere,
beginning of
I'd say
whatever,
somewhere in the range of like
having a king.
2,000 to 2,500
yeah,
years. It's
yeah.
been the same thing so far as we're learning. It's been the same thing
It's funny.
over and over.
We were talking about this last week. How I mentioned to you that from this, I think, from everything we've talked about and I've learned,
that was a good point.
I feel like after Tigran is where all this backstabbing and treachery started.
Which was
Why?
an interesting odd observation, actually.
Because
Why is my question?
what the information we have prior, and again, I could be wrong, but from what I've understood, before that, these so-called tribes that became empires and kings, you talking about Argishti and his son, and even other kings. You had the Mitanni, you had the Urartu. They were united. They lost empires because of wars, not because of backstabbing. They were just outnumbered.
Right. Which
But
is how
after-
it should be.
But after Tigran came in. He was a great politician,
And he
united everybody. But then,
all the broken factions,
he
all the provinces.
But right during Tigran is where his sons tried to assassinate him, and then
Was it two of his sons or three of his sons?
Two
Yeah.
of his sons.
Two of his sons.
To assume the throne?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they were always somehow
In cahoots with the wife.
Wow.
and they were somehow always
Drama.
they were always somehow like affected by outside sources, and this is something we mention all the time. Outside sources.
Yeah.
And after Tigran, everything we've talked about, it's the same thing. It's like a
Right.
goddamn loop. It's like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So sad. Yeah. So the lady that is translating the books or a book,
a book. Yeah.
she's gonna come here. We're gonna show our full support. The
Yeah, she's
community
gonna
in
be on
LA.
the show. When the book comes out, she will be on the show.
And can
Probably
anyone
May.
turn around and say to her, "Well, how do I know that this is correct? Has it been fact checked? Has a historian, looked over this?
Well,
Is
no.
the validity? I just want to understand the validity of it.
No, this
I'm
is
being
this
devil's
is
advocate
written
here.
by an actual historian in Armenia, Angela Terian.
Yeah.
She's a very well-known accredited historian,
Okay.
and everything she's written.
When
is
was the
based
original
on-
copy written? When did you write the original copy?
Oh my god, I want to say
It was a while back.
It's
Yeah.
a while back, and Anna,
60s?
from what I
Was it in
understand,
the 60s?
no, it wasn't in the 60s. I don't know exactly, but it was a while back. But I know that I believe Anna read the book, and then said this should be in English, so she took on that task to translate it. So, it's factual. It's not made up stories.
No, I
Yeah.
know. I completely know and agree, but I don't want anyone to turn around and say, well,
Well, you're always gonna have that.
yeah.
I mean, you the enemy's always gonna do that.
right.
Well, we
Enemy's
do
gonna
live
do
in the
that.
internet age, ladies
Right.
and gentlemen.
Right.
Right? You can. I mean, there's tons of information at your fingertips. Like if somebody
Right.
if something piques your curiosity, go and look into it,
Right.
We always
and
say
then
that.
use your discernment.
Yeah,
use your
we-
discernment. Figure it out. Like there's clues everywhere.
And we
You
say
know?
this to our audience all the time. It's like, hey guys, if you think we're saying something wrong or you disagree, or go fact check it. Go
Fact
do
check
research yourself, because the information we're
Don't
getting
let those
are
third-party fact checkers
from actual
check
historians. And
for
it's
you.
not just Georg. Georg has colleagues that provide this information as
Right.
well. So it might seem biased because it's coming from Armenian historians, but again, to put an emphasis on it, the information is actually from non-Armenian ancient historians who have
Perfect.
written about us.
Yeah, perfect.
It's
Okay.
not written by an Armenian that says, "Oh, menke sare
Menke
sare
Senkorkank,
helanke sare
yeah.
tsinke nare
Yeah,
tsink."
exactly.
It's actually a Greek historian or a Byzantine historian or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's from a different point of view.
Almost all of the historians that, let's say, we've mentioned, that Gevork's provided us with this information through any of the articles, very few of them are of Armenian descent. They're either Arabs, Greeks, mostly Greeks, Romans.
Romans. Yeah.
Remember, we even kind of joked about it at some point. We're like, wait, do these guys go sit in the behind where the war's happening and then just up on a mountainside and write about this stuff?
Right.
They're literally ուրիշ They're not.
Ես ուզում եմ ես ամեն ինչը լինի։ Ես մենակ վախենում եմ ուրիշի ասածը, ուրիշի նավսը. You know what I mean? Like դրանից եմ վախենում.
You know, everybody has an opinion. Everybody's gonna, say what they want to say.
Yeah.
That's why when we did this, why? Because we want the average person or the younger generation to listen to this, learn about it, go do their own research. Yeah. So when that person that you're talking about that's going to say, oh, this, that, oh, you're wrong, then they themselves now have ammunition to say, no, buddy, this is what happened. Right. This is the truth.
Right, exactly.
So people talk about, what the problem is that, and I myself and him too, we're a victim of it because we weren't taught the history or in general world history the right way.
Right.
So what happens is if somebody came to me and starts telling me, oh, we did this, or let's take Azerbaijan, for example. Azerbaijan has their own version of history, which most of it is made up. No, it's the truth.
Everybody I know. Yeah, I was scoffing because you're right.
But
I like to poke fun at it too.
Yeah. But the thing is, if let's say my son, he knows that Armenians did this, did that, blah blah blah. If he ever has to verbally have an argument with an Azerbaijani kid, and an Azerbaijani kid has been brainwashed and goes boom 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 boom, all these facts, they're facts.
Yeah.
My son has no ammunition. What is he gonna say? Because he has the only bullet points in his head of our history. So these kids need to know everything, the details, even the dirty part of our history.
Right.
Well, I think everything in this world is turning into that, man. It's like you can't just make a claim these days, unfortunately, without having to back it up with some sort of information. Like, okay, you can't say, well, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in 1942 because they hated America. No, they didn't. Like, well, why are you saying that? Like, back it up with why?
Right.
It's the same.
Do you think our youth is even remotely interested? I mean,
yes and
my
no.
kids are still young. But they ask me all the time what's going on.
So I have obviously I have a little bit of a biased point of view now, because we decided to take our kids to Armenian school, and Armenian schools are starting to bring in younger teachers, have I think better knowledge of our history besides teaching, like I said, the bullet points.
Right, and a newer way of teaching.
In a newer way.
Right.
They're constantly instilling the Armenian pride in them, the Armenian who we were as people. They celebrate, for example, Vartanants. How many people know what Vartanants is? Go ask our diaspora what it's about. Why do we celebrate Vartanants? They don't know, right? Yeah. A lot of people don't know that Vartan Mamikonian is a saint. They have no idea. I mean, there's so many points we can bring, right? So, I think that's number one, that our Armenian youth needs to start going to Armenian schools, but Armenian schools need to make it affordable. It should stop being about making money. It could be AGBU, Shamanian, that, whatever. They need to stop. They've made enough money already. They have the money. They know that. They need to make it affordable so even the families who are low income can have and buy more properties. You have the money. Buy more properties. Build more schools. Keep it. Look at the Jewish community. Look at how they do it. Probably 90.
How many times have we said that, Vic? How many times have we said, let's take it out of the Jewish textbook and be like them when it comes to money, when it comes to how we treat each other?
Not be like them. Use the same system.
But the way that they treat each other, even if they hate each other, but
that's even if they did in their culture. And
Okay.
I mean, look,
How are we any different if we should be doing the same?
but it almost feels like with us, and I'm not trying to talk bad on us. There's a lot of cultures that are this way. Everyone's trying to climb on top of each other.
Exactly, to get to the
It's
top.
not a matter of we're shitting on each other.
Mhm.
It's just, oh wait, let me take care of this and I'll take care of you.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? Let me get there first.
Let me get there first.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Whereas I mean, look, let's be honest. There's a lot of other cultures. We all know multicultural individuals all of our lives. We live in LA.
Mm-hmm.
You see sometimes how make them you see zerna levanum.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like,
Exactly.
I mean, you know, look, what,
It can churching. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say this, but I'm so anti-church. It can եկեղեցիենք սարքում շինարարում են էջմիածնի նման մի
you
հատ
might
կա։
notice the bottom, Glendale, was it Central and Glen Oaks?
Yeah.
The new one they're gonna build?
Another one.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah.
And I'm not even getting into like the BS rap they've gotten and what they may or may not be doing with their money. I'm not even talking about that. But if you have the money to build a church, how about you take that money and build a school and put more kids into those schools and stop sending them to public schools if you can afford it. And I know you can because I see the cars you drive.
Yep.
Put your kids in the school, put the proper curriculum, pay your teachers the way they're supposed to be paid. Stop pocketing the money, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this shit because I took my kids to private school and I pulled them out after a year, and I only took them because they were the only ones open during COVID. Yeah. And when I found out how they were treating the kids and how much they were paying their teachers, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
unbelievable.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I know.
And the rates have gone up. And
I'm a private school product.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the
no.
OGs like Pilibos and Shamilyan and all that stuff.
But it's all the same.
But I don't know. I haven't taken my kids there.
It's
but
changed. It's changed.
I think I've
Yeah,
heard
I
it's
don't know
changed
what the
for the
cult-
better.
Yeah, I don't know what the
Okay,
culture's
I'm not
like
bagging
now.
on everybody, but the ones that I have personally had business with, that I've taken my kids to, because you shop around, you see Techtanem and Techtanem, whatever. Like, well, how are you treating your kids? What type of food do you have? How much money do you make? I can do the math. I know how many kids are coming and how much you're charging them a month. It doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you from my experience, the curriculum has gotten better, and it could get even better, but they're trying. They're really trying. But the point is that these
Who's
organizations, the school is trying. See, here's the thing: you got to understand how these Armenian schools work. So, for example, let's take my kids go to AGBU.
Սեղանի թամադանալն եմ ես քո համար։
So I am proud. I'm happy with AGBU. I'm proud that my kids go to AGBU. I know a lot of people bag on them. But the way these private schools work, from my understanding, is that, so for example, let's say AGBU goes and says, we're going to open up a new school in Glendale, right? So they buy the land, they build the school, and then they hire the administration that's going to run it, right? They're on their hands off. The budget is based on how many kids come, how many teachers they hire. So now AGBU isn't funding them anymore. They did their part. They built the school. Now they hire the right people. They put a board
They're
together.
Investors.
They're the investors. Now
They're getting their
supposed to run
percentage.
it. So if you have 1,000 kids paying $1,000 a month, that's $100,000 coming in.
Okay.
You got to pay your teachers, this and that, whatever it is, right? So you work off of that until and then what they do, the school is supposed to be doing fundraising. So they do galas, they do fundraisers, dances, this and that, right? That's how they bring in more money to be able to pay teachers, to do this, to do that. Now, do I think that's the right way of doing it? No. I think AGBU, the main AGBU, should also be helping these schools. Maybe they are, I don't know. But that's what I've been told. That's how it functions.
Okay.
But again, I think we need to open up more schools here, not just in LA, wherever there's an Armenian community.
Wherever there's an Armenian, but there's a large
Absolutely.
Armenian community here, and we don't have enough schools to compensate for the amount of children that we have here. And if you have the money to make an Armenian history museum off of Central and Brand and pour millions and millions and millions of dollars into a museum, then I think you can put some money aside and fundraise for these kids to go to a private school that is worth a shit.
Well, a lot of the contributors to, and we know this for a fact, a lot of the contributors to the museum are Armenian private school grads or products.
Right. Or entrepreneurs and people with deep pockets who want to give.
Absolutely.
So then why don't you give that money a little bit, spread it out a little bit?
Now, I think also what's happening, there's a transition happening, a generational change. The Armenian schools, the principals are younger now. The board members are changing. The older generation, that heavy, very conservative.
The Dashnak, the whole that whole well, I mean, I grew up in that environment with Pilibos.
Dashnak, Mashnak, it's their mentality, the way they are. That's starting to fade out. So you have this newer generation, younger teachers coming in, a little bit more I don't want to say liberal, but more center than being heavily conservative, because I think we're more center than anything.
More open-minded, more conforming.
Listen, as you get older, I'm open. I was very liberal when I was younger. I grew up in the music industry. I didn't even have that many Armenian friends, and it was one of those things where then you get married, you have kids, you start a business, this, that, you start going, wait a minute, then you start changing your views, and become more conservative. So I think I'm more center, maybe a little bit right than center left. But again,
same here.
It's like there's certain views where you're just like, okay, this is too conservative.
Too extreme.
Too extreme.
One extreme I don't like either one. I'm not a Republican nor a Democrat. I'm just a free thinker, and I'd like to be progressive in some things and conservative on others. And it just depends on the topic. And I just feel like the younger generation could be a little bit more like, hey, let's not think in the now. Let's think 10, 20, 30 years from now. What's going to happen with the kids that are going to school?
But see, that's what the disadvantage of technology is. It gets you to, and again, I'm not trying to get into a different can of worms or open up a different can of worms, where society now wants constant satisfaction, constant dopamine dump, right? You want immediate short clips. Like, I can guarantee you 60% of the public now doesn't even read a full article. When you see something online, they'll look at the headline and that's it. They'll move along.
But even the articles aren't even a full article. They're just snippets.
Sure, but all you look at is the bold letters up top, and then you swipe. That's it. Literally, this is what's going on. Is our mind is being programmed in a way where we are now thinking that far. Right. Whereas the individuals who are putting out this content, whoever it may be, I'm not talking about controllers or whatever, none of this stuff, they think 5, 10, 15 years ahead. They're not thinking about next weekend. They're thinking about 5 years from now. We're thinking about, what are we going to do Friday? And today's Thursday. Right? This is what's going on. And unfortunately, like what we do with the whole historical thing, we're trying to show this whole, okay, guys, everything kind of repeats itself in one form or another. One form or another. Learn the history. And all of a sudden, you might almost start acting like Nostradamus. Like, it's like, wait a minute, hold on, I've seen this happen before. This might be where we're headed.
It's not that difficult to foresee that.
It really is not that difficult. It really isn't difficult.
And I already see where we're headed with the current situation.
It is.
Because I have seen it in history so many times with a leader that comes in that is trying to do this whole peace thing on the wrong terms.
Well, they want to look like the good guy.
I don't want to get into it, but I already see where we're going with this and what's going to happen.
Are you talking about Armenia?
Yeah, Armenia in general. Yeah,
there is no peace. How is that even an option?
It's the mentality there. It's like they're trying this new system, which we've seen through history, and it might work for a little bit, about like a small amount of time, opening up borders with Turkey and having transportation,
good
with
relations,
good relations.
Yada yada. Yeah.
I'm already clenching my jaw.
It's gonna happen. It's not gonna last long, because what's gonna happen is when Armenia gets flooded with these products, immigrants, and this and that.
Arten, it's happening with that.
Internal turmoil is gonna start happening between Armenians and these immigrants.
Right.
Just pay attention.
As
to
much
Europe.
as we are hospitable people.
Yes.
Voskorin. That's it, right?
It's already there.
And then we're gonna go back to the same thing. Another war is gonna happen. It's gonna be a worse war.
Of course.
It's gonna be probably almost like a civil war, because you have so many immigrants. Because here's the thing: if let's say right now, Artsakh is trying to get its independence from so-called Azerbaijani land, right? Because they recognize it as internationally, but it's our land, right? Okay. So
donuts.
let's say
I'm not stuffing my face on the show.
Okay, good.
so let's say I don't know, in 10 years the borders are open, everything, and all of a sudden we have another, I don't know, 500,000 Azerian Turks living in Armenia, owning properties.
Right.
Let's say they decided they want to settle somewhere between Yerevan and Gyumri. They pick an area and they develop. And then all of a sudden they go, you know what? We want to be our own country. We want to separate from you guys. We're going to be like, what do you mean? It's our land.
Well, look what's
Well, we're a majority here and we don't want to be part. I don't like the way you're governing this, you know.
But it's the Republic of Armenia. It's already...
But look at what's going on right now with... Look at what's going on right now with...
I could be wrong. That's what I see happening.
Along the borders in Turkey, the Kurds are trying to form their own country.
Yeah,
they're actually making a big push to form their own country because
they have the right to do that.
They do, because it's their populated. They're like 99% Kurds. The only Turks there are border patrol. That's it.
Forget about making your own like turf or area. They're just going to take over everything. They're going to drive us out willingly and unwillingly, and that's it.
In terms of immigration, just pay attention to what's going on in Europe. France, Germany, Spain, and Sweden. Pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to what they did with the immigration floods over the last, 7 to 10 years, I'd say, more or less. And look at what's going on with those countries. And if anybody's had the privilege of visiting any of those nations, you will say to yourself, this was not what I expected. Not that you would walk out disappointed. It's still beautiful. But culturally speaking, it's almost like what you've learned or envisioned about said country has kind of dropped off.
Right.
Why? Because of this immigration, because of this flood of... And I'm not saying close the borders. It's not what I'm saying. But Armenia is on its way there.
Right. Absolutely. Armenia is going to become this Muslim, and again...
It could be.
Muslim, not in a bad way, but because of our region and who's around us, they're going to just flood over...
There's only one mosque, I think, in all of Armenia, right? I think it's in Yerevan. No,
it's in mosque.
Yeah, it's in Yerevan.
Well, listen, there's something about
they'll bring more. They'll build more. Hena Ukrainian Nerekan, Russian Nerekan, Georgian Nerekan, Arten gone.
Yeah.
Ukalinen, as long as this war is happening. Even
if the war stops, they already settled. Why are they going to go back?
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's a Russian and Ukrainian friendly country. We're just neutral. We're just chilling. Everyone's going to the cafe. We speak their language. Why would they go back? Հետո ռուսերն ու Ուկրաիներն տեղը մի հատ է վրիցել ադրբեջանցիների ու թուրքերին էլ բանանի հայ չի մնա վերջ. Մտավ գնաց.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, it's just...
There's no legitimate way to keep the peace and keep your land. You give up one for the other. Verch.
Which president was it that said that? Was it Thomas Jefferson? I gotta find that quote. Yes, talk. I'll find that quote.
And I'm not even trying to say anything about Pashinyan or Serge or Robert or... They're all garbage. But what I'm saying is this whole talk of peace, it's bullshit. You can't. You can't.
You know, I don't know. For me, I don't agree with Pashinyan. I fell for his magic that he pulled over all of us.
Same here.
And not that I regret it, but hey, all of us...
At the time, we were believing in it.
Yeah,
Vic
we were
John.
believing in it.
So was I.
We all did.
We all did.
fell for it.
Yes.
We all fell for it.
But here's the other side of it. I was thinking about this the other day. Let's say he's not the perfect leader. He's not doing things the right way, right? The way we want it to be. Because we imagined him doing it differently from what he sold us.
We had so much hope.
What he sold us, right?
Right, okay. Absolutely.
Now, I think the biggest problem in Armenia is, okay, he's not the best leader. But how about we all unite? As bad as he's our leader, and this is from history, let's support him.
Okay.
And these you have the Dimadrutun, you have him, you have all these other little political parties, all this fighting one another, right? Okay, how about this? Just a radical idea. Why don't you guys unite And maybe from your experience, you give him advice and he'll start listening to you.
He won't.
No, but if there's unity and if it's for one cause, maybe he will. And then you know what? His term's coming up. If you guys are united, if he's not doing the job right, vote his ass out.
Vicky's a puppet. Now I'm getting a little deep. He's a puppet.
Okay,
we both know
we
he's a
do.
puppet.
It Kandid Mishkin
He's a puppet for
people
bigger
rallied
forces.
behind him so much. Even now, when there's people protesting in front of the parliament, there's still lots of people who are supporting him
I'm
openly.
not protecting him.
I'm not saying you are.
What I'm saying is like, let's try something different.
Yeah,
It's not working like this.
it
Let's
isn't.
try something
You're
different.
right.
See, but that's okay. You're a good human being, and the good human being in you is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Put the good human being aside for a second.
I can't.
No. But seriously, it's not that difficult to do. Put the good human being aside for a second and think like a goddamn bureaucrat.
I'm not.
Okay.
It's super simple.
Okay.
These people are controlled. I don't care what anyone tells me. Like, oh,
Okay,
you're a
I want to
tinfoil
know.
hat wearer.
I seriously want to know, Mike. Oh, I believe he's a puppet. I believe every
Pasha's a
president
puppet.
is a
Pasha's
puppet.
a puppet
Who
for
is
bigger
who is
forces.
pulling the strings? Who is
Man,
pulling
do
the
you really
strings?
need me to say it?
I want to know.
91-year-old Hungarian pile of shit. We all know his name. George Soros.
Okay.
Hersoner.
Okay.
That's it. He's that he.
I was wondering if it was him.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
All
We
right.
all know.
Yeah.
This took a turn.
I mean, but dude, like, so that's the thing that I'm trying to tell you is, we can sit here and preach all we want that this individual, if we unite, we do this. He still has an agenda to follow. He has a
Right.
plan. He has an order
Right.
of things from here till 10 times this table.
Until he completes his task.
Until he's not going
Yeah.
to. He might pretend to listen to you, to me, to whoever else.
Yeah.
He's not. He's just going to march forward with his plan.
I get it. I'm just
Because
I don't know.
Armenia-
I guess I'm
Armenia-
more gullible.
No, but
Armenia
Mike
as a
John, I
nation
think what
is
he's
not-
trying to say is like, for the sake of us,
Of course. Look,
we need to stop, like, misenk kurtsum, irar
of
misenk
course.
kurtsum.
I know, absolutely.
Okay,
And
I think that's what he's trying to say. But so we can
that's what I
unite,
was telling
and
him.
I
Put
don't
the-
think that's
put
gonna
the good
happen.
Put the good guy aside for a second, because the good guy in all of us
Yeah.
wants this to happen.
We do.
It really does.
But we have to be real.
Realistic.
Yeah.
Not necessarily negative,
Mhm.
because that there's a fine line
Mhm.
between being realistic
Mhm.
or a realist
Mhm.
and being negative. Really is.
Yeah. I've
I've been
feel
criticized
like
for it too many times.
I feel like we're living in this like matrix where we're watching what had happened in the last couple of years.
A movie?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we are. I mean, it's just glitches and things like that. Gives it away. But it was like April of 2018, and I was so moved by him. And as much as I loathe him at the moment, and I don't post my political opinions about him other than some headlines and things that are happening that Zartonk or Armenian Report posts. Shout out to you guys. Thanks for the
Yeah, they're all
news.
awesome.
Yeah.
by the way, you guys
Yeah.
are awesome.
You
We
guys are
follow
awesome.
You guys.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have an allegiance with anybody, but at the time in 2018 when we were all very happy and hopeful, and we had tears in our eyes thinking that this was going to be the most amazing comeback of
change
history.
finally.
Right? I started Kandid Koffee based on that feeling that I had of like, oh my God, this is amazing. I want to write a blog about it. I want to write a news article about it, or I want to start a podcast about it. And I just wanted to write about how I felt, because the feeling that I had was so overwhelming. The happiness that I felt, I just wanted that to be euphoric, and I wanted it to last forever. That feeling of pride and happiness and hope and joy and glee and just everything that we were all feeling at that time. And granted, perhaps it was staged, perhaps it was
I don't
it
think
was
staged.
fake, perhaps he sold us one story and then had something behind his back, or perhaps he's a puppet, like you said. I don't know.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Anything is
Well,
possible.
somebody knows.
Somebody
but
knows,
somebody
but I don't know
knows.
who
We
knows.
don't know.
I don't
Yeah.
necessarily, personally speaking, I don't think that was the uprising or the Velvet Revolution was staged. I think there was a movement that was happening prior to this.
But why him? Why Pashinyan?
Good question.
Right?
That's a really good question,
That's
actually.
why I
am
have the
stumped.
show. That's why I wear the
but
pants.
I mean, it's a really good question.
I
But
mean-
again, I mean, think about it. Well, okay, here's a thought. Here's a thought to your question. He's a journalist. He's a journalist for the people. That's the
Right.
way people viewed him as, right?
Yeah.
He was a journalist for the people. He spoke for the people. He wrote for the people. He got prisoned. It was a great story. It's a great Hollywood story. It's like, oh, he was in prison, and all of a sudden he's out. And he's got this thing on his hand.
Yeah.
And he's out. He's speaking, and there's blood, and not a single shot was fired. And we took the country back, and we got all these corrupt guys out. What a story, right?
Yeah, perfect Hollywood story.
That could have been possibly a puppet string thing, but I don't think the people getting behind that ideology of getting rid of the corrupt elite or our version of oligarchs was. I mean,
fake?
I want to believe it wasn't fake.
No, that part was not fake.
Yeah.
Our feelings were never fake.
People outside.
Are you kidding? No, we were absolutely we were eating that shit up.
Oh,
Are you serious?
I was eating it up. I was sitting there like, dude, this is amazing.
I know. I changed my career for this guy. I mean, like, come on. I was committed. I was working at the.
So, are we
bun.
interviewing you or are you interviewing us?
Yeah, both. A little bit of both.
What did you do before the?
Oh my God, what
Candid
didn't I
Koffee
do?
and,
I did everything. I did like a customer service for a while. I worked at UCLA Medical Center, and I worked at the felony and misdemeanor court in San Fernando, the city of San Fernando. I loved it because it was like being on Law and Order. And it was fun, but I was just like, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this forever. And I wanted, like, I had done theater for a while and I had done acting in college, and that was a really long time ago. Okay. And I was like, I really love acting and I really love being in front of the camera. Maybe I can be like, something that has to do with like vlogging something or writing an article, because I didn't want to be an anchor and I didn't want to be like a newscaster or anything like that. And I wanted to do something where it was like me telling a story, and I really love that. But I didn't want to do a podcast because everybody was doing podcasts, no offense. And so
None taken.
And so I said, it would be great to.
We're late to the game.
Yeah, you are, but
it's been over a year and a half.
doing
that we've been doing this, so
amazing.
thank you. We're trying.
Yeah. And so I thought, like, what if you tell a story based on the euphoric and happiness that I felt in 2018 because of the Velvet Revolution. And I told a story via video, like a true Hollywood story and whatever, and use pictures and videos to help tell that story so that people can know about Armenians.
Yeah.
I wanted people to know about Armenians because
good on you. You caught it at a great time.
I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did catch it at a great time.
Yeah, you caught it. You caught a big wave.
I rode the wave of like happiness and like, oh my God, we're gonna do it, and then it was like, ugh.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah.
Hey, which one is it? Hold on. No, I don't know which one is it. Okay, never mind.
You guys have a little voice.
Yeah,
voice spice? Okay, yeah.
He programmed them in, but he never used them.
Yeah.
You should use them. They're great. Yeah.
Oh.
And I talked to Rafael Manatsakanyan, and he's an amazing journalist, and he has a great voice, and he does great
I
voiceover.
love him. I mean, a morning drive.
Yeah.
In the mornings, after I drop off the kids, like he's my, because he had with Dead and Eek, right? He has the show.
Mm-hmm. He's amazing.
8:15,
and he inspired me.
Yeah, and he's great. I think they do it also later at night after 6 or something. He's amazing.
Oh wow, they
Yeah.
go on twice a day.
Twice a
We
day,
we
yeah.
spoke
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that time, and I said,
do this?
I'm not a journalist. I don't even have a degree. I had
Yeah.
a degree in business management, like some bullshit degree just to like have a degree.
Yeah.
And he said, Kristine, you have a really great voice. Why don't you do something that's not on paper, but like something that you
Like
can
spoken word.
talk?
Mhm.
Yeah, you can speak. And so, I just kind of like did it, and it was like a trial thing, and it turned out really good, and I thought it was good enough for what I had envisioned.
Yeah.
And so then, it just kind of built up, and by 2019, I went to Armenia. I interviewed some pretty amazing people. One of them, at the time, I was so elated. I interviewed Pashinyan's daughter.
Wow.
And that
Which
was
one?
2019. But the older one,
The older
Miriam.
one? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I thought it was hot shit at the time, you know. So and so I mean, all jokes aside and all things aside, as far as like, you know, where we were and where we are now and how we felt back then and how we feel now and the disappointment and all of that aside.
Yeah, it changed so fast.
It did.
Right? Like,
I mean,
what is it? It's 5 years removed. 5.5 years.
Yeah.
And
that's not a lot of
I
time.
mean, two years, right?
I mean,
2 years.
Yeah.
historically speaking, it's nothing.
It's nothing. It's
Yeah.
a blimp.
Yeah.
And so I thought, even though very little time has passed, like, I still have the passion and love for telling a story and talking to people and recording it and adding voiceovers and videos and pictures and things like that. I'll just continue with it.
Yeah.
It was never like I'm only doing this because Pashinyan or the Velvet Revolution or because I thought Armenia was going to be at some state
Yeah.
of whatever.
Yeah.
It was just about me telling the story. And I thought, you know, Oznavor died quickly after. And
Yeah.
who do we have? Like, Kardashian? Like, if I have to be compared to a Kardashian one more time, I was gonna just, you know, stab somebody. So I just, you know, I just
I love
started
it.
telling the story, and I'm so glad I did. And I don't really care what
Yeah.
who's in power or
So
who,
how's
whatever.
it going now as far as I mean, I know you kind of took a little bit of a break from Kandid Koffee.
I did. I needed a break because there was too much going on. I lost my old account and I felt very defeated at the time. And even though it's not really that big of a deal and everyone's gonna be like, boo freaking who, you know, like you lost your account, big deal. Like there
What
are
do you mean by account? Like
my
what-
old account, my old Instagram account.
Instagram account. Oh, that's
Yeah.
what you mean. Okay.
Why?
Because
Was it
Uncle
during the-
Vlad thought I was a little too outspoken during the Ukraine war and they shut me down.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got in trouble with
Oh.
Daddy Vladdy.
Daddy Vladdy.
I believe
I
that's what he
like it.
prefers to be called.
I like it. Daddy Vladdy.
Daddy Vladdy. That's like King George.
King George. Georgi.
Georgi.
Yeah, no, seriously, I I don't know what it was.
like
I don't
it.
know what
Daddy
ticked him off.
Vladdy.
Oh man.
Big Daddy P.
That's a good, I haven't thought about that one
I
yet.
don't know. It just came up with that
He's
one right
right.
now.
We should write to him.
Big Daddy P.
Yeah.
So now you're trying to kind of build it back up.
I'm trying to build it back up. I'm trying to play catch up. There's a few things that I still have to publish. There's a few things that I still have to kind of like mention, like, hey, remember I did this or I talked to this person and so. I actually have my second official interview, not a collaboration, tomorrow with a gentleman named Frank Zarunian. He's the mayor of Rolling Hills Estate. He's a scholar and a professor.
He's a
And
scholar, you say?
he is a scholar.
Scholar.
Meh.
Scholar.
Yeah.
You gotta say that in like a
Scholar.
Sean Connery voice.
Yeah.
It's a scholar.
With the
Yeah.
pipe.
Yeah. And he's really cool. And he's the mayor of Rolling Hills Estate. And he has a really amazing story, an immigrant story, how his parents came here and everything. I was very moved by him because I went to the unveiling of the Armenian genocide plaque that they built in Rolling Hills. By the way, that's Palos Verdes, if you didn't know where that was. It's a really posh, like, rich white people neighborhood.
Yeah. Gorgeous neighborhood.
It is.
Yeah,
it really is. And he's the mayor, and he's an Armenian dude.
That's
And
awesome.
so I just want to wrap up the season and, you know, give a lot of light and love and my respects to my people while I still can. And afterwards, hopefully I can do like a 5 to 10 minute segment of Did You Know? Candid Coffee, Did You Know?
I was gonna ask you, what are you gonna move on to after this season?
It's going to be a shorter segment where I just have one camera behind a green screen and I tell a story and it'll just be me and you, like talking one-on-one. And I don't have to have all these bells and whistles and lights and have editing, which costs me a lot of money and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Simple.
more simple to the point. You know that guy that does the LA in a minute kind of thing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like, how's it going, guys, kind of thing. But like, I kind of want to make it a little bit more glamorous.
Yeah.
Yeah, put a nice filter where I look really nice.
Yeah, you want to put the Chris kind
Little Chris touch. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what I'm going to try to do.
Okay.
and still tell our story and do it in a very short and fun and cute way, so I don't lose my audience, because a lot of people don't have the attention span. I'm telling you.
No, that's like we were mentioning earlier.
That's one of the biggest problems. Is short,
very short attention span.
Especially with the younger generation. Well, thanks for being on our show.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like this. Okay, speaking of which,
how many minutes are we?
Did
it stop? An hour. Okay, we're at an hour already, guys. We gotta wrap it up. Come on.
No, we can go 3 hours.
Oh yeah, we've gone 4.5.
Yeah,
I think.
4.5.
Yeah, we've gone
Jesus.
4.5.
That was longer than my marriage.
Yeah, we've gone 4.5. On a couple occasions, we've hit 4 hours a few times. I'm just gonna go downstairs.
I wanted to make it, but you guys are so serious with your topics. I was trying to bring a little bit of comic relief.
We're not serious. Are you kidding? We joke so much.
Here's the thing,
though.
Really,
Here's
the thing, though.
Really?
Like,
about history? I don't know.
Oh, you should.
Oh no.
Obviously, you haven't watched us.
Oh, he's done a lot of editing.
A little.
He's done a lot
you
of
do.
editing. Okay, you have no clue.
You have.
And I'm going to expose some of this right now.
Please do. I love exposure.
The shit we butcher. Both of us.
Okay.
The shit we butcher.
Okay.
When we get the articles, we put it together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. Well, let's just read it. Okay. We read it. And
but nothing
we
scripted.
Probably screw it up. No, but we screw it up. God, I don't know how many times.
In the beginning, we're a lot better. Now,
now we've gotten used to a lot of the stuff. But,
can they see me pouring?
No, they don't see
Kristine has an alcohol abuse problem.
No, we.
I'm not being a good
okay, first of all, none of us are professionals. When we started this, we couldn't. We had to get used to the idea of how do we do this?
A lot of the names.
How do we do this? It's like, okay. Well, we're not historians. We're taking content, we're reading it, and we're discussing it. Well, how do we have to figure out a way where it makes sense, where I'm reading, we're discussing, then he's reading, and then we crack jokes, this and that. But, a lot of the names and the pronunciation is very difficult. So we made a lot of mistakes. So we do retakes. But then when we started transitioning towards YouTube, well, the lives are easy because we're interviewing. We're having a conversation.
But at that point, when we transitioned to YouTube, we'd already done pretty well in terms of being able to bounce off of one another.
We figured it out.
Initially, there was a lot of words, names, specifically names.
Okay.
That neither one of us could pronounce properly.
Okay.
But we'd stop. We'd read the sentence over.
Is there like a phonetics translating situation? Like when you go to Google?
It's just the way it was written, and you're trying to figure it out.
No, not our names.
Not our names.
Anything related to us, you were used to. But anything related to, let's say, the Romans, the Persians, the Sumerians.
White people have that problem with us. So
the Sasanians were just like, and then hold on, let's start over again.
Yeah.
We start over again.
What was that? Shupalibu?
No. You Trajan. Trajan.
No. I'm talking about the one super
Man, I don't even remember that guy.
It was the longest. It's a name, and it was so long, and we're just like, how many?
So yeah, it sounds. It almost sounds Swahili.
Something like that.
Yeah. But it was
like every time. And the funny thing is, what we're reading, that name is in there 10 times. So I'm trying to read this paragraph.
Yeah.
And I keep
and it was
this name
in there 3 times in 10 words.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
and it's like 15 letters. I'm not even kidding you. And either this poor guy got stuck with it, or I got stuck with it, and I'm like,
I just had to bullshit my way through some things that I didn't know anything about.
So basically, what now with the lives or the reads that we're doing, it's easier because of the fact that we're so used to it. We might miss something really quick, but we correct it. But it's smooth now.
Yeah,
it's smooth. So
it's all good.
Yeah.
You know what? Mer Herosner, any podcast, Kandid Koffee, whatever it may be, it's a work in progress, because especially since I know you guys didn't have any broadcasting experience and background, neither did I.
Yeah.
But what we both mutually had was a passion for telling stories.
Yes.
And that's where I think we did really well for ourselves because that exuded into our work and our love and what we're interested in and things like that. And it doesn't matter if you're not pronouncing the names that good, because you could work on that. And what matters is that you're putting your heart and soul into something that you want to share with others.
Yeah. And you mentioned something very, very important.
What's that?
Telling stories.
Telling stories, yes.
We have to tell our story. I've mentioned this so many times on the show.
Yes.
We have to tell our stories from different point of views. And
I got it tattooed on my back.
Tell a story?
No. In the end, we all become stories.
Very true.
Yeah.
This is very true.
Yeah, our life is.
It's my little poetic statement.
Yeah. But if we tell stories from different point of views, hopefully in English or in a language that is universal, which is it's English right now.
It is English. Yes.
But and for the world to really know who we are, because I think for the last over 100 years, we've had this sobbing story about us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Victim chair.
Victim chair. It's
April's,
always like,
April's not an easy
the
month,
poor
man.
Armenians, the this and that. Well, it was a tragedy that happened. We should never forget it. We should always remind people about it. But at the same time, the diaspora was born from it, and a powerful diaspora.
Right.
And we have conquered so many things. Our people have given so much to civilization, from technology to books, to writings, to teachers, to professors, inventions, so many things. So
poetry, films.
There's a positive thing to it. So we need to stop playing that victim
mentality.
Stop the victim mentality,
so
guys.
That's my two cents when it comes to that.
Keep on pushing
we
forward.
need to tell stories about ourselves, our history, and not just ancient history, recent history as well.
Recent history is
very
the most important.
When people think the word history, they're thinking, thousands of years
Yeah.
back. No. The whole 1988 movement was history.
Yesterday was history.
Well, yeah.
No, it was
recent history.
Here,
but
no. Regardless, this is the way it works. Again, you're saying it in a sense where the word triggers our thought process of 1,000, 2,000 years ago. That's not the case.
Right.
Yesterday, 5 minutes ago was history, if you really technically think about it. However, the grassroots movement of understanding where we came from, what we are, who we are, how things progressed, how things are cyclical, right? You and I have talked about this so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we need to tell our stories, and hopefully it won't be just between ourselves and our people. And even though our people are in Jerusalem and Canada and Europe and UK, we need to tell our stories to others who are hopefully intrigued and appreciative of our footprint on history, and be willing to share that story with others, aside from Armenians, because I can't tell you how many times we've screamed and yelled about, oh, did you know that this person invented this, and did you know that this person was Armenian, and did you know Aznavour and Cher and this and that, and Sergei Parajanov, and he was an amazing film creator and whatever, and we just echo this information within our people.
This
and
museum's pretty cool, by the way.
Yeah, everything we do is pretty cool, but the problem is that we're just telling it to ourselves. And so I know I'm not Oprah, and I know I don't have a platform that big, anywhere near that big and whatever, but I just wanted to have that out there on YouTube forever, unless the internet crashes one day and the aliens take over. But I figured, what the hell, I should just put it out there and talk about us and see where it goes.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
What's that?
When did you come here?
1991.
91.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my brother and I, my mom and dad, my grandparents, and my horkuch, so my dad's sister, we all won a green card and we came here.
Wow.
Legitimately. Okay. If anyone's who's asking.
Mexico. No,
we swam here. Yeah. That's why I have my a tan all the time. Yeah. So we came here legitimately winning a green card, and we were just so happy to be here. And my dad is Hunahai and my mom's Qarabaqti. and it was a unusual like.
Greek? You're speaking my language.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And my dad was a very hardworking, ambitious man, and he worked a graveyard shift at a liquor store in the early 90s. And he was gone a lot at nighttime, you know, when I was coming home from school and my mom was taking care of us.
Wow, from here?
He was gone. Yeah, are you crunching? Well, I'm giving you my American dream story. Yeah, so that's pretty much what happened.
I'm in Tesla mode.
In the early 90s.
Yeah, the early 90s.
Yeah.
Okay. And you grew up in Glendale?
I'm a North Hollywood C.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I went to North Hollywood and...
You went to Grant?
I went to North Hollywood High School.
North Hollywood High School.
Yeah. I was very quiet and to myself at the time, but I saw some shit. Yeah. It was good times at the time. At the 90s, it was fun. Like
we all saw some
It's
shit
funny
in
how
the 90s.
we grew up in the 90s and it was, you know, I lived in Hollywood, Gramercy, and
I love
Franklin.
that. See, I wish I lived in Hollywood. I would have had more street cred.
You know what's funny? What's funny is where we grew up. I mean, we didn't. Our parents had no idea. No one noticed it, but we were living in the worst gang-infested areas
Yes.
ever.
Oh my goodness.
But we were out on the
riots
streets playing
all the time.
The high school
shooting.
My cousins were in AP, and I was very well protected at the time.
I mean,
Wow,
the high school you went to.
Yeah, we went to
Yeah,
Marshall.
we went
Yeah,
to Marshall. We
Marshall,
both went to
wow.
Marshall.
Yeah.
Look, Hollywood High School was worse.
Yeah.
It was.
However, John Marshall had like 95 different gang factions.
Yeah.
It really did. Like every
Yeah.
corner you turned had 18th Street,
But you know what I
17th
love?
Street, 16th
If there was,
Street, whatever.
If there was a fight in Marshall, Hollywood High guys would come and protect
Oh,
us.
yeah.
Protect us,
And
yeah.
If there was a
Yeah.
fight in Hollywood, we would go. Like it was something really fun, you know.
Yeah, that's when I left the Armenian establishment, the Armenian prison camps,
Yeah.
and got into the public school prison camps.
I was in public school, but I mean, there was a lot of Armenians there at the time.
God, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
It was everywhere. I mean, it
But
didn't
you know
make a
what,
difference
though?
where you
I
went.
got to give it to us because at the time, even when you didn't know anyone personally on a personal level, there was a sense of camaraderie and like brotherhood where I felt very safe being a 14-year-old teenager in North Hollywood where there were riots between Armenians and Mexicans. I felt very safe at the time because I had people who had my back.
Yeah.
And my other cousin was going to Grant at the time, and two of my cousins were going to North Hollywood High School. And I learned how to be loyal. I learned how to shut my mouth whenever I needed to. I heard not to, how to, this code of ethics when it comes to, what you do and don't do. And, as silly as it sounds, I carried that into my adult years, and there's there are certain things I won't say and do because of how I was taught at a very young age.
Yeah.
And I was safe, and nothing ever happened to me.
That. And like you're
we
right.
all grew
like,
up like that at the time.
As men, we looked at Armenian girls in a different way.
Yes.
We
Said
did.
That's for sure.
It didn't matter if you didn't know the girl, as long as she was Armenian.
You
very
felt an
much.
obligation to protect her.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was like
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter. I might never even have two words
I don't know
spoken
nothing
to
about
her.
Right.
You protect. You
that's
protect.
it.
And it was reciprocated at the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even through fear and respect or whatever, what have you, like even through like status and whatever was expected of you, I knew that there were certain things you did and didn't do and said and didn't say. And at the time, granted, we did have some gang violence and solidifying ourselves in our communities and things like that. The 90s were pretty rough.
Yeah, they were wild.
But like, I think I grew some tough skin at that time because I really learned a lot about like street cred and like what you do and you don't do. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I'm a mother of two now, and I'm like a little,
But you nail it in terms of like the street cred because we saw a lot of unusual shit.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
you
gonna use the
learn.
word unusual.
You learn and you keep
Absolutely.
quiet and you watch and you understand.
Whether you were involved or not.
Whether you were involved or not.
You
Allegedly.
Hey. I can't confirm or deny.
I cannot confirm or deny either.
I'm just gonna leave it at that, all right?
Officer, I was sleeping at the time.
While your hands are back, just take me now. Just take me now.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
Take me now. You know?
While Chris is checking on her phone,
But yeah, I mean,
so
it's
you went to Grant.
I went to North Hollywood High
Sorry,
for 1 year, and then I went to Burbank,
Okay.
which was a huge
change.
Oh yeah,
Transition
that's
to
like
Burbank.
suburbia.
Yeah, it was like
white
population white people.
White boy suburbia.
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me.
Very little Armenians at
Now,
the time.
did you guys move to Burbank or
We moved to Burbank.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah,
got
my
it,
parents
okay.
lived in North Hollywood for a very long time. We rented a house in North Hollywood for like 800 and some change for the longest
that's way
time.
back then.
Wow.
And my dad hustled and raised a lot of money, and we bought a house in Burbank for like $430, and we built it up. And it's his little American dream. He worked very hard at it. And I said, Dad, if you ever win the lottery, would you ever give up this house? And he's like, Are you kidding? Like, esin zerkovem sarkel vonskaram like lachem.
Yeah.
My dad and I one time went to Tijuana together because he wanted to carpool, so he took me.
Yeah.
Smart, right? I love you, Dad. If you hear this, like, it was a learning. It was a learning lesson.
He's like, where are we going?
I could have been sold on the black market, whatever.
My mom does the same thing to me.
Bro had to get his tiles, okay? Hedge, bro. I could have been like auctioned off into like slavery and shit.
She's like, oh, this doesn't look like the U.S.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
We went to get some
no, we're going fishing,
bootleg tile for his mosaics in the backyard.
That's awesome.
Oh my God.
It looks like fucking Caesar's palace in my dad's backyard. But no, bless his heart, he's so sweet. He really did a great job, and he has a little palace in Burbank, and I as much as I sometimes don't agree with my parents and we butt heads and we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, I immensely respect them for the amount of grit and
the move
that they made to bring us here.
Yeah,
all of our parents.
And mind you, legitimately at the time.
Yeah.
Later on, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like at the time, my mom went to Valley College. We got some food stamps for a little bit. My grandparents were watching me. My grandfather worked as a waiter in the Armenian banquet halls for 25 years to help support my family.
Wow.
And it was this amazing feeling of like we all have each other's back. And it was my mom and dad. My mom went to Valley College, took care of us. My brother and I went to grade school. My dad worked graveyard shift at a liquor store at nights. My grandpa worked. My grandma stayed home to cook meals for everybody. And my horkud, who also came here with a green card with all of us, went to school in downtown in Hollywood.
Evans.
Yeah, where all the Armos went. You know what I mean?
To
like
learn English.
to learn English, right? And so it was like a collective effort to have a better life for all of us. And fast forward 30 years, my dad has an amazing business in Chatsworth. My mom works for the county as a IHSS, provider.
Funny, that's what my mom, she retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was working for
she worked in the county like religiously, like
she retired from there.
And so, and my aunt worked for the county as well, and then became a production assistant for lead production person for you might know them, on Fade to Black Radio. It was
why does that sound so familiar?
It was an American radio show online. She was the executive producer for that. Fade to Black, Jimmy Church.
Oh, Jimmy Church Live.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
So
That's
like,
why I was like, wait a minute, why does this sound so familiar?
Wow.
Aliens. You see how this conversation came full circle?
Full circle.
Yeah.
Brought
So
it back.
See,
You
this
know,
is how history works, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
it's amazing, and I want to take the minute to like really acknowledge and give props to Armenian families who came here in the late 80s and early
nothing.
90s with nothing.
I agree.
And just like busting their ass to take care of their family in every which way, in every which way they can. And that was my family, and that was hundreds of other families that were here at the time. And I can't speak for everyone, but I've heard so many great stories of like the American dream, you know?
It's such a huge move.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like look.
Imagine doing that now.
Yeah.
You
Well,
doing that.
Oh please, they'd be like balls deep in fraud.
somebody said it.
What?
Somebody said it.
What?
I mean, shit, it's true.
Hey,
listen. If anybody's gonna argue that,
You're pointing at them. Okay.
yeah, I'm pointing at the camera. If anybody's gonna argue that,
PPP loans. Kidding.
This took a turn.
All right.
Hey.
I'm gonna shut my mouth now.
But anyway, I mean, look, it's every one of our families have that story. It's like, oh, $1,000 que link America.
$1 in my pocket.
$1 que link America.
Yeah,
And everybody has these stories. It doesn't matter whatever the amount was. Some way, somehow, they made it. They made it happen.
Yeah.
Harach's story.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I remember
Who's
he was
Harach? Do tell.
Kozi Beokian, the carpet.
Oh, the carpet
magician.
guy.
The
Yeah.
magician, the wizard.
The mustache guy. He has a gnarly mustache.
So I mean, even his story, right? Like the guy, he was a professional at what he did, Varpet Marted, but he came here on a mission,
Yeah.
right? And he made it through. He rode the pines and he got through what he had to get through. Now imagine you get up and want to move to another country out of the U.S., right? Just hypothetically speaking, and you want to go to, let's say, I don't know, Italy or Canada or whatever the case is. You want to be more prepared than that. These people jumped ship with $1,000, $500, $700.
If we were
I'm
going
not
to
going to Canada
move,
unless I've got $40K.
yeah, if we were gonna move to Canada right now,
That's your
we would
mindset.
have been more prepared than we were in 1991 when
100%.
we came here with
100%.
nothing, not even knowing the language, nothing.
Absolutely. And
Go for it, bro.
Our folks were just
Ellie,
like, nope,
you're an
we're
American
gone.
citizen. Caras hetkas America and resume where you were before,
Bingo.
or perhaps going to something else, knowing what
Back
you're
then,
getting yourself
couldn't
into.
go
So,
back
so
to
that mutes
Yeah.
and head like, holy
Yeah.
crap, am I going to be able to stay
Yeah.
in that country, or are they going to
Yeah.
hurt
You
me?
couldn't go
Like,
back,
you know
no.
what I mean? There
Yeah.
was all of this political nonsense.
I want to take the time to really give credit where credit is due, and I know our parents are difficult. Because like they really like went above and beyond to try to acclimate to this very foreign and scary place, as much as it may have had roses and rainbows and rose-colored glasses and everything, like the American dream that they thought that they were going to get coming from Armenia.
Politically speaking, it was the enemy.
Yeah.
Politically speaking, back then, it was the enemy, right? Like 70s, 80s, Soviet Union, United States.
Yeah.
It was the enemy.
It was the enemy.
You weren't going to like the cool sister
But you're
country.
escaping this like fascism
Sure.
to come to the land of the free.
Absolutely.
Yanimte.
But you were, Yanimte.
Yeah. Takhitoga.
But you're still escaping to the enemy, right? Like this is the interesting.
According to
dynamic.
Mother Russia.
According to Mother Russia.
Yeah.
Yes. But
that's a risk you
such
take.
An interesting time.
No risk, no
Such an
no
interesting
reward.
time. Yep.
So thank you to all of our parents, because
Yes.
we all have the same
Yeah.
similar story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do.
And
Your
we
parents,
wouldn't be
your
here and
parents.
be the people we are.
We are because of them.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
of them.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
what they sacrificed, none of us can do it now.
Nah.
None of us.
And a lot of them, they can't be changed. And sometimes you look at your parents and you're like, why are you like that?
But it's okay.
But it's okay because that's how they are.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
And you just got to accept the fact that that's how they are.
But you know what? Our kids are gonna look at us the same way.
Yeah.
We're like, why are you like
I
that?
hope not.
Because we're gonna get older.
Yeah.
We're gonna have. We're gonna
We're going to digress.
continue our ways, and they're gonna progress in a different way.
We used to
So,
play outside. What?
We did used to play outside.
Yeah.
Sorry, I digress.
Yeah.
No.
Nintendo is what I remember.
I mean, look, listen. We lived that era, but we still went and played outside.
Yeah.
We did.
I had a stick.
We did.
You had a stick.
A hockey stick? I.
My John.
I mean, we had hockey
I'm just
sticks.
gonna stop. Just like a little stick to poke it.
Do something. Oh man.
This was pre Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Okay. Love. Arten, you think varum? Arten, we're bullshitting.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up. And final thoughts are, I'm so happy to be here with the Mer Herosner dudes, Mike and Vic, in Burbank, which was very convenient because I'm in Burbank, as you all know. And we talked about a lot of interesting topics across the board, and I tried to be very politically correct, as did the gentleman here. So thank you all for joining and listening in. And hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah.
And I look forward to the book that's coming out.
Yes.
I'm
We'll
actually going to
definitely
take
let
the
you
time
know.
to read it and promote it.
Yes. Yeah.
We need to have a book signing
We're looking
thing.
forward. Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Gotta
too.
have a little
We really are.
soiree.
Yeah. The keyword we tried to be politically correct.
Yes.
You know.
Hell, I didn't even.
Our show
I
is
didn't
clean.
even.
Yeah, well, it's
Our show is
we
people don't get to hear us.
we don't necessarily have to try. It's just we're talking about the past.
Yeah.
It's already
Yeah.
It's already set in stone.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
All we could do is speculate and
Right.
have a good time with painting whatever picture
And
we want to paint.
even things about
Right?
the current situation. I was
current
I was
stuff,
very
though.
careful about what I was saying.
the current stuff.
I didn't want to reveal too much.
Let me step over the landmine.
This was nice because people don't get to see us outside of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're regular guys. We all have our careers and we shoot the shit. We
Mhm.
make jokes.
I mean,
And I'm a simple woman.
This is how it started.
You
It
know?
started right there.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
This is
With
this is
the
how it
donuts?
No,
well,
no,
not
no.
the donuts,
No, he was
excluding the
saying-
donuts. But I mean, we would sit here and talk history
Yeah.
for a couple hours, and then
Yeah.
one day he's like, "Hey,
Want to do a podcast?
let's do a podcast."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay, so who's gonna be your co-host?" He's like, "You." I'm like, "No,
I think that's great.
no, but did I not?
Yeah.
I scoffed
Anything
at it.
that's on a whim is amazing.
I swear to God, this
I
is
swear.
exactly how it happened. I scoffed at it. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, get
Yeah.
somebody else. Get somebody. He's like, no,
I want to be
you're my.
a returning. I'm gonna have to not drink as much though, because you got to
Yeah.
censor me a little bit.
Okay. All right. We'll
Sure.
do that.
We could be a little
See,
bit.
that means
no,
that
hold
means
on,
he's like,
hold on, hold
he's
on,
like,
hold
oh,
on.
Christine,
Hold on, we could follow the
you were
theme.
doing too much.
We could hold on. We
No,
could
no,
follow
no, no.
the theme. We could make it a little more candid.
Candid with a K.
Candid, yeah. No,
What-
this is
what are we
great. I
being
like
candid
it. I
about?
like it.
Whatever comes up.
Whatever comes up.
Sure.
Okay,
Whatever
cool.
comes up.
Sure.
Like no holds bar.
No holds barred. No holds
Okay.
barred.
So we're gonna have a follow-up interview then.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Are
No,
we?
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Listen. Why?
I mean,
You can't
why
bullshit
not?
a bullshitter.
I know.
Vic.
No, but why not? I mean, seriously, why not?
Okay.
Why not?
All right.
All right, cool.
Well, no,
I
seriously, thank you for
kidding.
Yeah,
kind of.
thank you for doing this with us.
It
It was a long time waiting,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
we're
was great. I hope
It's
the
a pleasure.
audience enjoys our conversation.
I hope
and,
so, too.
Like I said, we're typically not on someone else's show. Yeah, we've been on the
Mhm.
Wise Nuts, but the only thing I gotta say is I know you have your following. I hope more people start listening to our podcast.
Yes.
We are
I want that to
worldwide.
happen.
We've had over 116, like I said, 1,000 downloads just last year alone. But the problem is, it's too scattered, especially here in Glendale, Burbank, the Armenian communities. They need to learn about our podcast, what we're doing, and go
Yes.
listen to it. And it is a clean show, so
yeah, we
kids
are
who are of
family
age,
friendly.
who can understand, have them listen to it.
Are you guys gonna censor my?
No,
Bad words?
This is on your show.
No,
so
that's
it doesn't
your
matter.
show.
This
Yeah.
is on
No,
You're
your-
gonna
that's
put it
the-
on my
yeah,
show, but not on your
No,
show.
no, that's not the. No, that's not the point. It's just,
I try to watch myself.
We want
Realness.
parents to have their kids present whenever we're presenting our information.
All right, kids.
You know, oh no, it's not about this. It's not about this. look, we're average guys,
Yeah.
gals, whatever. But during the show, we want parents to have their kids there as well to learn what they need to learn, right? Like that's a part of our encouragement.
Yeah.
So, beyond that,
I'm an
we
average
also want
kinda
to
gal.
encourage people to. I mean, if somebody's got a great idea out there, make your voice heard.
Yeah. Do it.
As an
Don't be shy.
Armenian.
Yeah.
Pertaining to Armenian things,
Yeah.
make your voice heard.
So,
Cheers.
Awesome.
thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Vic and Mike.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, and we will resume when the time is right. But for now, an hour and 41 minutes and 44 seconds is perfectly fine for the amount of information that we dished out. And I think it's really interesting and intriguing for our viewers and our listeners. And hopefully my viewers will become yours and vice versa. And we can continue to feed each other
All are welcome.
as far as, cross-promoting Kandid Koffee and Mer Herosner. So thank you so much for having me on your show, and I appreciate it so much. And I was really holding back from saying a lot of things. But it's okay. It's okay. We not that I was being not 100% honest. It's just we didn't have enough time.
It felt pretty authentic.
It was authentic.
really
It's just
Wait a minute.
we will
In
reiterate
reality-
certain things.
In reality, we're on your
We're
show.
on your
in our
show.
studio,
Right. True.
right?
Okay.
Let's just call it neutral
You see what they
territory,
did there?
all right?
You see
We're
what they
having a
did?
good time.
Yeah,
We're having a
no,
good time. We're having a good
absolutely. And
conversation.
usually my shows are no more than an hour, so we had to keep it short and sweet. And you can come back next time for the part 2 of Mer Herosner and
At
Candid
your
Koffe.
studio.
Yes, at my studio. That
Yeah.
next time, aka my living room.
Yeah.
So till next time, we will reconvene and talk some more about current events and Armenian history. Thank you so much.
No problem. All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye bye.